And we are joined by a special guest here, Bob Edwards of E5 Racing and Good Magic. And Bob, exciting times for you, starting way back as a 2-year-old last year. Thanks for joining us. How are you enjoying your Derby week so far?
Having a great week so far. Hospitality's been phenomenal. We have a driver, which is killer for us kind of getting around, and navigating through here. And in the mornings, as you guys know, are special.
Ed DeRosa joining us as well. And let's take a look at the Derby field. We kind of alluded to the draw yesterday. I want to get Bob's thoughts on the draw, your draw, everybody else's draw. And a good sign for you was your draw and Bolt d'Or's draw, because it's exactly the same as the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and you won that race over Bolt.
We know that early. As soon as it came on, it was something that my partner Barbara saw and picked up on quickly. And, we're hoping for magic again.
Well, for those not lucky enough to have a driver, want to quickly point out KentuckyDerbyParking.com is the place to go for all that info. But you will be chauffeured in here on Derby Day. I'm sure you're hoping good magic. It's a good trip, as he did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Really a meteoric rise for E5, winning the Breeders' Cup here. You also have Rushing Fall, who we'll see on Oaks or Derby Day. But talk about his progression. Favorite in his maiden, favorite in the Champagne. Long shot here. He finally gets it done.
Just beautiful. TV's coming up. So, I guess starting with the Fountain of Youth, for us it was a prep race. And being a new guy in the business, to me it's a prep race, right? We're preparing the horse to kind of peak like this Saturday. So he had 6 extra pounds. He had about a 40-plus day layup. We went to Stone Street, to where he went and kind of was a horse for a while, gained some weight, went back to Chad, probably missed a few breezes, just time to getting things in and getting things in order. Went to the Fountain Youth, had a really good blow. We were really happy, and then people were kind of down on the horse. He had 6 extra pounds. It was 1-2, 1-2 all season at Gulfstream, speed favoring track, and we felt the horse performed really well.
I wasn't down on him.
No, I'm not picking on you.
I meant, but a lot of people
I was. I'll admit it. I thought, here's a race. I thought Strike Power was a horse he would get by, and I think we're going to see a clip from the Fountain of Youth, and we'll see that here. But I've come around to him. We'll see his later race in a bit, the Bluegrass. But here is that Fountain of Youth, and it sounds like, based on what Chad was telling you, the horse was training. Not unexpected, this performance.
No, not unexpected. I think Chad thought maybe we could win. But he did have 6 extra pounds on him,
right,
and it was a speed favoring track, and it's been 1-2, 1-2 all season down in Gulfstream. And we just we wanted to set up, we wanted to get some points. Jose did a phenomenal job keeping him in the points, and just ready to go from there. And I remember Chad asking Jose, do you think you can get the distance? He said, absolutely, boss.
So then after this third place performance, and right here it's promises fulfilled, and then it was Strike Power, and you guys were in third. Like you said, you got coveted Kentucky Derby points, but then the Bluegrass comes around, and we need to get this horse back on the winning track. You need to get those competitive juices flowing, and let's talk about the Bluegrass Stakes, where it's a workmanlike performance, and he gets it done, Bob.
Training up to the Bluegrass, he just kept getting better and better. He loves training. He's kind of that kind of horse. He is a workman style horse. Went to the Bluegrass, full field. That's a premium prep race. We had a full field of horses, no excuses going in. He was training well. We had a good post position. We felt that he was going to peak, not peak, but at least perform as expected, and he did, and he delivered.
Now in the Fountain of Youth, we saw him tracking those 1-2 horses all the way around. Also somewhat close in the Bluegrass. Came from a little further off in the Breeders' Cup. If you talked with Chad, has he said anything about what he's talking about with Jose for the Derby, where you expect him to be in that first turn, and then the move you want to see him make in the far turn?
Have you met Chad?
I have.
No, just kidding. I know they discussed kind of a little bit of strategy, and obviously we have some speed. There's some speed that we can kind of hopefully chase and go behind a little bit and tuck in and wait for that perfect time, and let Jose use the internal clock and push the button when he needs to.
Yeah, Chad, Cornell graduate, so yeah, I'm sure we'll be well prepared and researched for this day.
Let's rewind a little bit. How did you get involved in horse racing? As Ed mentioned, a rapid ascent. You've had a lot of success in a short amount of time, but how did you get interested in racing, and how did you get lured into buying your first horse to get you to the point where you are now?
So my wife's from Saratoga. She was at Pinkerton, which you probably hate if she's watching this. She worked at Mexican Connection, so we have roots in New York. We went up to Saratoga for a family reunion, and we just kind of went to see an old business partner's house. It was on Fifth Ave, and he took my daughter and I, my oldest daughter Cassidy, to the backside, which we never had. And as you guys know, that's the hook. I mean, you start going
place,
on, you start loving on horses, and then sucker punched me and rolled me right into an auction. And unexpectedly,
just like you drew it up.
And I got to sit down with Mike Ryan, Niall Brennan, Scott Pierce, who does all my betting, and just kind of walked around Mike all day. Didn't know me from nothing. I had dirty cargo shorts on, a ball cap, flip flops. Not horseman's attire at all. And he spent the whole day with my daughter and I going through confirmation, kind of what to look at, what to not, what you want to look at, what you don't want to see, and we ended up going back to a wedding, and Mike called me and said, all right, the horse is in the ring. I had to duck out of a wedding, and I bid on the phone, and we bought our first horse, which we thought we were going to, run in Saratoga that next summer, who ended up getting claimed last week by Linda Rice. But it was, a great start, and my wife, felt it was a huge conspiracy that we were going to load up on horses and be Coolmore. And, 80 horses later, we actually loaded up on horses, but I swear it wasn't a conspiracy. Just kind of, we went into the breeding aspect of it to kind of get vertical, to have horses to sell, horses to breed to race. And, like I said, we got really lucky early with New Money Honey, Zendaya. Zendaya was my first. We bought her as a racing prospect. Gave her to Chad. We lost in the license fee to Lady Shipman, who was really fast, and then we went to the Intercontinental one. So my first win was a stakes race, and then from there I think I won 4 or 5 more stakes races in a row just without breaking a maiden, and then rolled into the Breeders' Cup, and New Money Honey performed phenomenal under Javier, and then we started that next season off with some really nice babies, and just the luck continued. 2 more Breeders' Cups, an Eclipse Award. We're going to Ascot. Hopefully going to Ascot. We're nominated with 2. I have one with Jesse Harrington in Ireland, in Rushing Fall. And then, we were at the Derby, which, year 3 is something to be said. And it's a testament to, my whole team of people, the Stone Street team where all the horses get broke, my partner Barbara, and just, it's kind of a magical kind of scenario for a new owner.
When you mentioned Coolmore, your Stone Street's involved with Good Magic, Sire Curlin, of course. You're out here, you mentioned the backside, helping give you the buzz back here, of course, second to none Derby week. What has this scene been like, in particular, with all those other successes you've had, and what would it mean to actually get the job done on Saturday?
It kind of gives me goosebumps to think of it. Just watching the footage. You guys had the old, Derby footage as we're coming into the intro, and it's just, seeing guys hold the trophy, seeing the horses run. You kind of get goosebumps. I mean, I still do every time I watch one of those Breeders' Cup races, even the Bluegrass. When the horse makes the move, and knowing when Jose was going into the first turn, he was loaded. I mean, he was loaded, and I'm hoping to see that same thing here, on Saturday.
One more quick question for you, because we're going to move forward. We've got the Oaks and Derby training, a lot of stuff coming up, but some really good stuff with Bob. The dam is Glinda the Good Witch of the South, and the Wizard of Oz. Is that kind of how Good Magic got his name? Yeah,
we went back and forth. Barbara's camp and our small camp kind of went through a list of names, and kind of it just worked out well, and we kind of like Good Magic, and it stuck, and everybody kind of, the name is bad, or everybody's got an opinion. But until the DRF said, Good Magic makes Bolt d'Oro disappear in the Breeders' Cup, the name really didn't stick.
Now, it seems like all these great horses have and I'm blanking on what Secretariat's name almost was, but what was the runner-up to Good Magic?
I don't believe there really was one. There's a lot of good and a lot of magics, kind of just magical names in there, and that just kind of seemed like a proper name for the horse.
Yeah.
Last question before we let you go, Bob. You've kind of alluded to it already, but tell the viewers out there, somebody that is maybe thinking about getting into the business, what it's like to own racehorses, that feeling of watching them develop and watching them go into the starting gate and watching them eventually win, kind of capsulize what that's like.
There's nothing like it in the world. A minute 30, 2 minutes coming up here, the adrenaline spike that you get when your horse is in any race. It doesn't matter if it's a claiming race, if it's a maiden, if it's the big day. The whole spike of the adrenaline you get is phenomenal. Watching this unbelievable athlete that you've seen come from a farm to becoming a baby, to seeing broke as a 2-year-old, and to win a race, as you guys know, the feeling is just, there's nothing like it.
I don't know, but I've cashed some tickets, and that's probably the next tier down. next up on my list is winning one for sure. So great testimonial.
It's great to have you in the game. You're a great spokesperson and ambassador, and we wish you the best of luck in the Kentucky Derby and with all your horses.
Thank you. And I love the sport. I love being around this, and I think the sport is underserved as far as the public, knowledge of the sport. ESPN, hook us up. Love be great for us, but. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's what good ambassadors do. Thanks, Bob. All right, so we've got people watching from across the world, everybody. We're going to get to some social media questions. We've got Jada from Ohio. We've got Sherwin from Texas. We've got James from Ireland, all across North America, all across the world. We've got people joining us as well. Dawn at the Downs, right here at Churchill Downs. We want your questions. Every question is a good question. We'll be back with social media questions and live training on the Kentucky Derby Work Show right after this.